off, and we've had some very good games this weekend. We've had some not so very good games. We've had VAR slightly in the limelight, and we've seen some performances that some of us expected and some of us didn't. Welcome back to West Ham Unofficial, new season, same faces on the Premier League Roundup show. Josh, did you have a good summer?
Yeah, not too bad. Glad the football. Well, I was glad the football was back until yesterday, but yeah, not too bad.
Good stuff. We'll of course get on to Aston Villa a little bit later on. Sean, how are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. What's happened to Josh's voice? He turned into
I
a man
know.
over the summer.
I know you've dropped. I thought that
What's
just as the
happened?
intro was playing.
That's why he's been hiding the last couple of months. That is.
Yeah. Any comment, Josh?
No, I have had quite a long day, but yeah, growing up.
Good to
A
see
lot
you.
finally.
Good to see you. Right, well, we will start with you, Josh, and we'll start with the Friday night football. Seems like a long time ago now, actually. Burnley 0, Manchester City 3. Some thought an opening day upset could have been on the cards, but Erling Haaland and Manchester City soon got rid of those claims, and they started where they left off as a treble-winning side, Josh.
Yeah, I think Burnley did give them a game to fair, especially first half. They're in the game, they had a few chances. The promoted teams always look up for it, but City's class just showed really that Haaland's second goal was just ridiculous. He didn't even look. Like, it was just left foot, top corner, and didn't even look. That's just when you know you've got a world class striker. You don't even need to look. He has like 20, after he had something like 20 touches and just scored 2 goals. It's ridiculous, really. Burnley did first and they play good football. I've watched them a few times the Championship last season. They build from the back very well. That's obviously what company wants them to do. But I just think at times they tried to play a bit too much like that against Man City, where you've just got to play a bit more negative and drop off a bit more, hit a few more long balls. But they did create quite a few chances in the first or second half. I just think as soon as the third one went in, it just sort of the edge dropped and weren't really as great in there. But they've got a few exciting players. They've brought quite a few in, to be fair to them. They've spent a lot more than the other 2 newly promoted teams have done. I think they'll be all right. Burnley, they play some good football. They look entertaining to watch. I think they'll be fine, 15 for 16. As for City, I just think they are usually never as good at the start, like first 10 games until about January when you just go like a 15 game unbeaten run. But no, they're always still quality, and I think they'll just win the league again this year. I just don't see anyone getting close to them. I think the closest will be Arsenal against fair. They have brought quite a few players in, but I think that City's just, they always have that 15, 16 players who are just absolutely world class and will walk in any other Premier League team side. So yeah, that's tough opener for Burnley really, but good win for City on the first game.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head is that Vincent Kompany sort of went and tried to go like for like and tried to match up to the City side, which obviously didn't work. Looking at the score and I did have a sort of, I was confident City would win, but I just thought a little thing maybe Burnley would have had a chance, but I think they probably got their sort of outlook and approach to it a little bit wrong. You can't go match to match because you'll get battered if if most sides in this league try and go and face to face with City, you'll get battered just because of the amount of class, the amount of skill that they've got there. I wasn't too happy.
Arsenal tried to do it last season when they played them away from home and they just tried to go toe to toe with them and just press right from the off, and they got battered. You can't play like that against Man City. They're just too good. They'll either play through you or they'll just hit it up to Haaland who can just roll you. You've got it. The only way to beat them is just to sit back and try and hit them on the break. But fair play to Burnley if they're trying to play like that. And I do think against other teams they will be all right this season.
Yeah, Burnley will upset a few this year. I think, especially at home. Let's take some comments. See who we've got in. Jay, thanks for joining us. Trini as well. Hope you are well. There's Josh Grandad. I hope you are well. Jay says, I'm not bad, mate. Shame we didn't get the win yesterday. Bournemouth did look a lot better, though. We'll get onto that a little bit later on. Chelsea didn't look too shabby this afternoon. In stages, I thought. In stages, they looked okay. Sean's just not. Sean's replaced Chelsea with Leeds because of Pochettino for the team he's going to slag off all season. I've just got that feeling. I've got that sense. Sharky says Haaland has learned from Antonio when it comes from finishing. Haaland has learned absolutely nothing from the fair Antonio. But yeah, Lawrence, I hope you are well. Even though City won 3-0, they didn't look as dominant as last season, especially when De Bruyne went off. Yeah, they didn't, but the scoreline still reflected what I thought. Burnley probably didn't go into it. If they'd had the game again, they probably would have went about it a little bit differently. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Right, we'll come to you, Sean, to start off your season with Arsenal 2, Nottingham Forest 1. Eventually, when it got started.
Yeah, Arsenal. They played similar to they did last year. Obviously, they're trying to integrate a few new players, aren't they? A little bit. So it almost looked like, I don't know if they're finding it a bit too easy, but almost like they opened the door a bit late on. This is the last 20 minutes. Forest tried to go a little bit of route one. But yeah, with Arsenal, a bit like what Josh said, they're going to be up there still, but it depends how Arteta integrates these new players, because Havertz signing, it was a strange one for me straight away anyway. Rice, I don't think it's going to be overnight sort of clicking in that team really. I noticed when Forrest sort of broke a little bit here and there, he did like a bit like what he did for you the last couple of years. He dropped very deep and did like the covering sort of role. I don't know. Maybe them not like last season. They actually steamrolled quite a few teams, but this year scraping a 2-1 a little bit because they've got to change the system a little bit. Maybe Arteta's thought he's got to do that. I feel like what Josh said when he went to Man City. Maybe he's realised they can't go as open as they want to be. But yeah, I think they'll keep winning, keep picking up points. If you want a player like Rice, he's probably not. I think I said last week. I think Thomas Partey's more suited to their style. If he's going to play in both, or he's just got to integrate a player.
I think it will take time because of the fact is that you've got midfielders there, and just with Rice, we know all too well that he's changing the way of playing football, and he's got to learn on the job pretty much. And the way that they did open the door towards the back end, and I sort of watched the start of it and went, Christ, they're going to steamroll me. And then sort of watched the final stages of it where Nottingham Forest were really, really knocking on the door. I didn't know whether that was some opening day complacency or it was just Forest found a way to break through that Arsenal side. But it's going to take time for them to properly click again because they've made a lot of signings that they've made a lot of changes to the backbone of their side. But they will be up there again. Forest lurking around there again. Sean, can you see?
Yeah, I sort of said that last week when we were doing our predictions, didn't we? Was it earlier this week? Yeah, I watched them pre-season versus Leeds. I thought they're quite dull and poor. Like you said, with Arsenal, you can't, a bit like going against City, you can't go toe-to-toe because they might rip most teams apart. So they had to go a bit more direct, get in their face. So you sort of play to your strengths. But they are very much like watching a championship team a little bit. They're not going to be too complicated. They're not going to try and be too flashy. They'll probably just be okay, maybe, but yeah, they'll be down there. But yeah, Arsenal. But anyone that got a win on the first day, you take it and move on because, like every season, it's going to take a few games at least for teams to get up and running. New signings, new managers. It's just a fresh start for a lot of people. Don't think many teams haven't had much of an upheaval this year. United, I suppose, haven't done too much really. They're sort of coming in a bit the same. They've done too much business, same manager. Other than that, even Man City, a few have gone. A few of what you probably call legends at the club, a little bit have gone. So yeah, it'll take a while. So they'll be happy with a win, no doubt.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think Arteta wants to play Partey and Rice. They are too similar. Mike Epua, he says Arsenal are a season away. Once they believe in themselves all season, then they can do it. Yeah, I think this season, they will be one of many clubs that will struggle with playing twice a week, especially with Europe as well. And I think they might just drop off. I think they'll finish third or fourth this year. And then I think maybe the year after they'll go again. Right. Oh, let's move on. Bournemouth 1, West Ham United 1. We'll get this one out of the way nice and early. We didn't lose on the opening day, as many people predicted. Thank God for that. We have got a point on the board. We have got a point on the board 3 games quicker than we did last year, so that's one positive I'm taking. And we played some quite nice stuff from what I saw of it. Souček, who was dreadful all last year, seemed to look a little bit better without Rice there. The shackles seem to be removed, and he seemed to have a bit more freedom. Paqueta played well. Whether that's going to be short-lived, I'm not too sure. And if we can get this Alvarez and James Ward-Prowse into this midfield, I think we can take control of that midfield. And Moyes has hinted as moving Jared Bowen to a more striker role and then getting a right winger in, because Antonio might be going, and Ings is just crap, to say the least. So, Bowen scored a great goal, great finish. Will he stay on the right hand side? Will he go down the middle? I'm not too sure. The captaincy was given to Kurt Zouma. Whether that'll be for the whole season, I'm not too sure. But we looked quite good. That was all fine. Areola replaced Fabianski in goal. Finally, he seems to have taken the number 1 shirt. And it was just a shame. We invited the pressure. The clear outlook was, once we got a goal, sit back, invite the pressure, and we did crack in the end. We did fold, and it was a bit of a lucky goal, to be honest. Solanke scored to level things up, and to deny us an opening day win. And Bournemouth get a point on the board. Listen, I think a draw was a fair result. Both sides of the table now, and the positive I'm going to take is we're only 2 points off the top. Josh, anything to add?
Well, I did watch this. I did watch it on Match of the Day. I thought, by the looks of Bournemouth, had quite a few chances and were probably the better team. David Brooks had 2 brilliant efforts, which the goalie had to save. Areola looks like he's finally took number 1 shirt after a couple of years of being there. Is Fabianski still there, is he? Or is he just
still there? But yeah, Areola's taken over.
Yeah. I think West Ham, they haven't brought any players in till, I think it was last week when he brought Alvarez in. Obviously, I think it's Ward-Prowse. I think Ward-Prowse is signing soon, so finally getting a few in. I think they'll do well in Europe again this season, and I definitely think they'll be around halfway. But obviously, fighting on 2 fronts, it'll be quite difficult. But I don't think there'll be in any relegation trouble. I think they'll go quite far in Europe again. As for the rumours of Paqueta, I can't see West Ham selling practically the 2 best midfielders. Definitely the 2 best midfielders. In the same window. I think the minimum they'd want is about 90 million, 80 million. I'm not sure whether that will happen, but apparently he does want the move. But it's a good point for West Ham on the opening day. Bournemouth, I think they'll be down there this season. Sacking Gary O'Neill was just, this fellow they brought in is meant to be quite highly rated. He's got promotions in Spain and he's done well in Spain. I think it was Rayo Vallecano he did well with. But I'm not sure whether the gamble's going to pay off. And I just think they haven't really brought too many players in. They could be down there this season. But yeah, it's a good point for both on the open day. I think good point for West Ham on the road. And as for Bournemouth, who could be in a relegation battle at the end of the season, but that's a good point as well.
Yeah, I think it will go one of 2 ways for Bournemouth. It'll either go very well or very badly. Do they have the players to implement the system that this new fancy manager wants to sort of put across? I'm not too sure. They were okay. They weren't nothing special. But I thought we dominated the first hour, and then we did drop off, and we paid the price for it in the end. In terms of Paqueta, I think it's a similar, obviously not so big, but I think it's similar. I think we will be put in a similar situation to what Spurs have been put in. I do think that they'll put £80 million on the table. They're not far off of it, and we've been told they are going to come back in. And it's whether the football club's in a situation to reject £80 million for Paqueta. I don't know. Will we hold firm? I'm not too sure. Of course, with the player that has remained professional, we're aware of that. He's remained professional, but of course would like the move to the greatest club in the world. Who wouldn't? And time will tell. Time will tell in that sense. But let's just hope we can hold on to him. Let's hope he plays next week. And yeah, just gotta wait. Just a waiting game now. Right, 6 more comments. I've been told we played well for the first hour. Yeah, okay, we were okay. it seemed that Souček had a bit of a license that was taken off of him with Rice not there. Of course, now played okay, but still only see points coming in the Luton game, and that's their first home game in Premier League for God knows how long. So that's going to be a difficult game under the lights. So yeah, Moy shut up shop, bought on Ings, who, yeah, literally should have been Divin Mubama as an outlet. I do agree. Lawrence says we should have never changed our tactics and began to sit back. That's what Moyes is going to do. You know, people have had a good moan about it on Twitter, and rightly so, but we're going to have to get used to it because that's what Moyes is going to do, I am afraid. Let's move down to the South Coast. Sean, Brighton 4, Luton 1. Brighton continue on their merry way.
Yeah, I don't know if it says more about Luton this game than it does Brighton. I'm not really sure, to be honest. With Brighton, obviously they've done great for a few years under a few different managers. Someone posted their starting 11. That's been during the game, and obviously none of the names jump off the page at you too hardly. In fact, you could, if you base it on names on paper, you'd probably put it in the Championship. Obviously, he's got them well drilled, playing great football. They've got Ferguson, haven't they, who's going to... Yeah. He keeps getting tipped to be a star. Whether he's going to live up to it or not, I don't know. But again, like I said, first game up, promoted size can be a bit tricky. I'll be honest, I said last week I almost condemned Luton and Sheffield United to go down early. So I'm not expecting, like you said, you've got them at home the first... if they're going to play well, it'll probably be in that game. Yeah. First game after 20 years out of the Premier League. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be a game you might expect a performance. Well, they almost demand one, especially if they... Is that a third or fourth game in?
Yeah.
You go play them?
Cool.
Yeah, so they could be going to that with no points. So, Brighton aren't going to go away. They're still going to be a good side. They're a good side in the Potter. I think, like a few clubs, I think the owners sort of insist on a certain way of playing, which I like. It's something that's got away from my own club for the past 5-6 seasons. It was always demanded that we played nice football for the fans, and that was like forgotten for short-term fixes. You're probably in that little position now as a club where, you said last week, which is right, you said, I don't mind playing bad every week if we win 1-0, but you do get a bit sick of the playing bad or play not bad, playing negative. Right, so there's different ways of playing football. There's no God-written rule. You've got to be attacking. You've got to do this. You've got to be possession-based. You play how you want. But fans will get fed up with winning negative or drawing negative. They just will. Then it'll get to a point where it almost feels like you're losing, even though you're getting a few points on the board. So someone like Brighton, they go the other way. Win, lose, or draw. They're going to try and keep the ball, a bit of possession. Against it seems like Luton, it comes off. They will beat a few bigger sides this year. But yeah, it's not. Let's be honest. Home to Luton, first game of the season. You'd be over the moon if you're the manager and the team when you get them 3 points on the board. I don't know if they've got next, but that'd be down as one of the easier starts to the season. So yeah, they got the job done. But to be honest, I didn't expect anything other than about that scoreline. Really, nothing there surprised me at all.
No, I do agree. Brighton away is a tough fixture. It certainly is. We're going to have a fun day out down there. We haven't beaten them in 13 years, but we're going to break that curse. We're going to break that curse this season in 2 weeks' time. Fingers crossed. Michael says if Paqueta goes, then we need to bring in a marquee signing to appease the fan base for Fana. Maybe we certainly need a better name than McTominay to excite the fan base. That is what I will say for sure. Brighton's problem this season could be squad depth with 2 games per week. Yeah, I think, and we'll come on to Villa in a minute, but I think this is a problem Villa will have after we've had this problem for 2 years, is keeping up with it to a good standard playing Thursday, Sunday. But we will revisit that when we come on to the Villa game. But before that, Everton 0, Fulham 1, Josh. Oh, you there, Josh? Oh, hello.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you then. The sound went off.
Oh, there we go. Everton 0, Fulham 1, Josh. Can you hear us?
Hello.
Oh,
can you hear me all right? Yeah,
Sean,
I can now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, mate. I can hear
it. Right, Josh, you right now?
No.
Oh, there we go. Put 50p in the meter. Put 50. Oh, he's gone now. Oh, God. Well, we are live. This always happens. I'm going to have to hand this over to you, Sean. Everton 0, Fulham one will do this together. The unforgettable game of the weekend. I reckon this is the one.
Yeah, I was sat home like probably most of us, sort of loosely following the game. But Everton booed off at the end. Did I hear that? I don't know if I imagine that. I think they didn't sound very happy when it was a full-time result. Everton's just going to huff and puff a bit, aren't they? I think that's what's going to happen. The commentator sort of said that Everton would probably look like the better overall team, but Fulham just had that a bit more quality in front of goal. And I think just one good move in the game sort of carves them open a little bit. I've seen at the moment they're trying to buy Harrison from Leeds, aren't they, Everton? Although Villa might be in at the last minute, but he's injured for 6 weeks, so it's another one of those silly clauses that Leeds. Shame we can't discuss Leeds because I could rip them to pieces even more with these silly signings they did that can leave on loans and all that rubbish. I said last week I thought Dyche would have Everton a bit better, but it's not a great start, is it? Let's be honest. You would expect like a better, at least score at home. Not like Fulham. I rated them last year. I maybe expecting a bit of a drop off from Fulham, but yeah, I didn't like that start from Everton at all. Really, I wouldn't surprise me if the fans, because you get like a little sort of lift when you survive on the last day, and they've done it 2 years on the spin now. But at some point, you don't want to start a season thinking, "Oh, it's going to happen again." So I know we're one game in, but you don't want to just think it's like Groundhog Day, so we're going to do it again. So I don't think it'll take a lot each season for the Everton fans to turn at all. Maybe to a lesser extent, the same as your lot. Like, if your season starts dull and negative, it'll take you even less time to. Who's West Ham's next couple of games, for example? I haven't got.
Chelsea on Sunday, brilliant. Chelsea and then Brighton and then Luton.
Yeah, so you don't want to be going into the Luton game with 3 points or less, really. But do you know what I mean? And if it is negative and it is like, oh, why did Moyes change the tactic? Fans start to turn early. I think it's probably took you a lot, probably about mid-season last year to turn. Everton fans have not been happy for 3 or 4 seasons, and I just think Everton losing that home game, if they lose the next away game, then don't win at home following that, they'll go early, and it won't necessarily be against Dyche. It's more of the board for them. A lot of fans seem to aim it at the board for a lot of clubs, but it's not a very good start for Everton.
Yeah, no, I do agree. Fulham are a side that I'm not sure on. I've got a feeling that they won't be where they were last year, but I don't think they'll be fighting relegation. I think they might just drop down a few places to those mid-table areas. But Everton, I think they will be in a spot of bother again this year. Unfortunately, we're trying to get Josh back, hoping that he can come back at some point. Kenzie, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Both could struggle this season. I do agree. Right, let's get an Everton perspective. No, they weren't booed off. Actually, it wasn't too bad of a game. It's just that we created 19 shots, of which 9 were on target, and at least 4 should have scored. Sadly, we've got Neil Mopay up front. Well, that's an issue with if Calvert-Lewin has fractured an eyelash or whatever is wrong with him. So yeah, that's just
they got Dan Juma, haven't they? That we had on loan last year, because he was another one that had an Everton medical, a bit like Harrison today. And then at the last minute, another team's come in for him. So I don't know if he started. His name was mentioned. I don't know if he come on, but to be honest, I didn't get a good chance to see how good he was, because we got him on loan in January. I think he had about 12 Premier League minutes. So yeah, he might do a job for Everton. Do you know what I mean? There's enough clubs who've been after him for a while. So if he gets some minutes, with Calvert-Lewin, like you made a joke about fractured eyelash, whatever. You get to a point with a fragile player where you think, we can't rely on you anymore. We need to get some strong covering. Do you know what I mean? I don't think they've got a lot of money because of financial fair play hanging over them quite heavy. But you can't rely on a striker that was good 2 seasons ago now, was it? He wasn't last year. He hardly played last year, did he? Like, came in and out through injury. You can't rely on a player that was fully fit 2 years ago and had a good season coming back. At some point, you've got to bite the bullet, right? We only got Dan Juma only on loan. I don't know, but maybe even they got a dip into the Championship. There's a few in the Championship going around, players between 10 and 20 million. It sounds a lot of money for a Championship player, but there's a couple down there who could do a really good. Yeah, like you've got Perot at Swansea. Who's the lad? There's what's a playmaker at Coventry? I've forgotten his name. Players like that.
Yeah.
That you pick up, not cheap, but at some point you've got to bite the bullet. You've just got to go for a new name, a new.
They need a
proof.
fix.
Yeah, you can't just rely. Calvert-Lewin's injured again. You can't go on like that.
No, it's not feasible for me, from the outside. And sadly, Calvert-Lewin is on a fitness program, we are told, in order to fully recover. He played to 45-minute games, and we were expecting him to do the same against Fulham, but unfortunately, he wasn't even on the bench. It's an issue. It is an issue, right? One thing that Dad didn't want to discuss was how dull is Soccer Saturday now. It didn't fill me with too much enjoyment on a Saturday afternoon when we were on the telly, to be honest with you.
No, I haven't been a big fan of Sky's coverage of football for a few years, to be honest. If you take out, if you like them, the Neville, the Carragher, and the Keane sort of triple threat, and they do the show where they talk, you take them off it, it's quite dated coverage. And obviously they've ditched Soccer AM.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, remember they did the Saturday morning fantasy football league thing for a few years. They got rid of that. Obviously, Jeff Stelling's gone, and it's just the characters. If you're going to do like a panel, call it like a panel show, which it basically is. Like when BT did it, you had it might be a bit of a clown, but you had Robbie Savage on there.
Savage, yeah.
Chris Sutton was always playing up to the camera a little bit with his random opinions. On there, you've got Merce, who is getting more old and differy by the week, and I swear he doesn't watch the game. And then you've just got like a few bolt-ons next to him, and it didn't flow. I didn't really rate it a lot, but there you go.
And oh my god, you got Mike Dean sat there in like a different postcode going, "Oh no, well, I'm not sure. I was like, oh, it's a shambles. I didn't particularly enjoy it. That studio they've got is about 15 times too big than what they need. I mean, everyone's just. It's like we've gone back to social distancing and lockdown. Like everybody's like miles apart from everybody. I didn't like it, but hey ho, it might come with time. I doubt it, but it may come with time. Right, let's scroll down on these comments there. Trini says Moyes hopefully will be judged after our first 6 games, where I see us only getting 3 more points. Wasn't it nice to see an away end singing Champions of Europe? We know what we are. Driving around Tottenham with our European Cup. A amendment of a song that's no longer allowed. Corey says, I think West Ham will go all the way to the Europa League final this time. Well, you've got more confidence than I have, Corey, to be honest with you.
The Europa League's far stronger in the conference, and let's be honest, you haven't got a stronger side this year, so you do well.
Yeah, the new BT Sport's much better. I do agree. I don't like Rio Ferdinand, but apart from that, I do agree.
They have some of the chapters about TNT Sport. They didn't do it on Saturday, did they? Like BT used to.
No, they didn't. No.
So I'm not sure. I'm not even sure if they're going to do it. To be honest, I don't know. I know it's sort of the same channel rebranded, but sort of not. Yeah. But I don't know if they're going to do it or not. I wouldn't have a clue if they'll do it. But it's not. It wasn't great, Soccer Saturday. But like I said, I sort of thought, because they made the change on Soccer Saturday, got rid of like Phil Thompson and who the other one that got rid of? Letitia.
Charlie
now
gone
weird on Twitter.
And it all died.
Yeah, maybe sometimes things do come to a natural end, but you've got to replace them with a proper revamp. And it won't great. But like I said, Sky Sports coverage is a little bit dated at times.
Peter Drury's now going to keep it alive, I think, in terms of commentary as well. But right, I think we got Josh back. There we go. Josh, can you hear us?
Yes, I can now. Sorry, I was experiencing some technical difficulties on my laptop, so I've had to get it on a phone now.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Well, thank you very much for your persistence with it. Right. We will. I tell you what we'll do is we've done Everton Fulham. Sean's done that. We're going to scrap Sheffield United, Crystal Palace, because that's going to be our forgettable game of the week. We're going to scrap that and we'll go straight on to fill you with some confidence, Josh. Newcastle 5, Aston Villa 1. It took 4 minutes for Tonali to open the scoring at St James's Park, and they didn't really look back from that moment on. What went wrong, Josh?
I just don't know where to start, really. It's just an embarrassing performance. It's just brought us right back down to earth. All the optimism people saying we're getting top 4, this, that, and it's just no. think from the moment Tyrone Mings went off as well, but people don't realise how much of a big miss he is. Since we signed him, we've only ever lost one game without won one game without him. He's a massive loss, and the high line that we held last season, where we were so solid defensively, just kept getting in behind time and time again. Alexander Isak absolutely bullied out Torres and Ezri Konsa, who was solid last season. Torres looks like he needs time to get back. He needs time to get up to scratch with the league. He looks good on the ball physically, doesn't look strong enough, looks slow. Luca Dean, good going forward, just can't defend whatsoever. But no, Mings is by far the quickest in the back line, and I just think without him, we just can't play this high line. And he's also the one who organises them. He's the talker. He's just the leader. And I think without him, I do think we'll struggle. I thought first off, to be honest, I thought we were in the game. Moussa Diop with a very good finish, and then we had most of the ball. They sort of sat back after they went back in front. The second goal, which is about 5 minutes after we equalised, and then we had a few chances. Diop at the side, netting, and Watkins dragged on wide, which he should have put away. We were in the game, and then Konsa with a silly mistake, which got it to 3-1. Then Matty Cash, who had an absolutely dreadful game, he got moved to right wing in the second half. Actually looked okay on the wing. He missed a sitter. Watkins' shot comes in, keeper palms it out. Cash over the bar, practically an open goal. If we get that 3-2 with 20 minutes to go, you never know. But we missed that, and then fourth one goes in. It's just, that's when you know it's game over. I don't like keep digging players out, but Leon Bailey was just absolutely appalling yesterday as well. I just don't think he's a really quality player. He's lazy, and you just can't even beat a man. I think today we're in talks with Jack Harrison. We've hijacked the move that he was going to go to Everton. Apparently, Emery's convinced him now, and we're getting him on loan. To be honest, I thought we were even higher than players like that. But if it keeps Bailey off the team, I don't mind, to be honest. No, it was just a shocking defensive performance. Diego Carlos, also didn't look great. Don't think he's the same player since he's come back from that injury. And no, it's just, I think the only really I can give credit to Diaby. He looked good, looked sharp, had a good pre-season, looked quick.
Got me some FPL points.
Yeah. And probably Emma Martinez in goal, really. I just think even Kamara, Louise, who I've said, Kamara probably walk in to any other Premier League side other than City's. He's that good. But yesterday he was just absolutely appalling. He couldn't pass. He'd never really won the ball back as much as he normally does. It's just a big shock and a big reality check for everyone at the club, really. I just think we're not invincible under Emery, and we are sort of getting found out with a high line. I just don't think it's going to work this season, and I'll try and be optimistic. I think
to an extent it was almost a bit of a reality check where, fair play to Villa, they've been on cloud nine for the last part of last season. They made some what looked like good signings all over, and they come in and bang, and Newcastle blitz Villa off the park, which I think they will do to a lot of teams like they did to Spurs last year, where they'll bang a few goals really quickly, and whether it's change a game or win a game very quickly. I don't think Villa have got anything to worry about. My biggest concern would be when Europe comes in. Now, I think it'll hit Brighton a bit more because of the what's the best way to word it? The not so competitive nature of the Europa Conference League group stage, but it will still present a different challenge. But Josh, I think you'll be fine.
I don't know. I said we'll come seventh, but I'm not sure now. I think it could be more to mid-table sort of thing, especially if I do think we're going to go run in Europe. I mean, that Conference League, until you get to the last couple of rounds, you should hope that we'd go far in Europe. But as for the league, I'm not sure. Hopefully it's just a blip and reality check. And Everton next week at home is already a massive game. Because if we lose to them, that's that's first 2 games lost and one against a really poor side as well in Everton, who can't really buy a goal at the moment. So yeah, it's I don't want to say we're in trouble. I don't think we are. Hopefully, it's just a blip. But I don't think we'll do as well as some people expected this season. I don't think we'll do as well as I expected as well.
There we go. Right, let's take some of your comments. I see Newcastle being City's main rival. They have bought well and have depth now. I think there's signs like that Tonali geezer who, let's be honest, nobody we watched the Premier League had heard of him before they signed him. And whether, he score, will he be good or not, there'll be a weapon at home with that crowd. It's not a nice place to go now, Newcastle. I think there'll be a weapon at home. Away from home, will they crumble a little bit? I'm not too sure, but playing Europe again will be interesting. That is for sure. But one thing we will talk about is Roy Hodgson still fancied himself, didn't he? He wasn't taking any prisoners. He nearly went to it, one of the Sheffield United players. But that was mildly amusing. Isak was so bad in La Liga, but is so good in the Premier League. Well, we'll come on to who won the Fantasy League for the week in just a second. But Sean, you had him in your team. I've got him in my team. He earned us both some points this week.
Yeah, he's a good player. Tricky with the ball as well. Yeah, I said I'm not going to do this fantasy team, but I did enter a team in the league in the end, and I was left fuming by my points total. So.
Well, what you've got to work out, Sean, is if a player plays well, it means nothing unless they get goals or assists.
I know, but even if you get assists, the points are pathetic. You can play. Oh no, I was grumpy first game up, but I had him up front. He's still on Newcastle game here, aren't we? They will batter the odd team. I'll be shocked if they're as high as the top 3. Because again, there probably is still a bit of a work in progress, I think. This Tonali they signed, I'll be honest, I hold my hands up. I thought they massively overpaid for him. Because I did watch him play 3 or 4 times for Milan last year. And I didn't really see a player there. Obviously, they watched him over at least a whole season and might have seen something totally different. I see him more in the Champions League. So maybe in the league, against lesser opposition, he shone a little bit, but he had a good debut. Obviously, they'll. I don't actually still think they'll qualify for the Champions League again, Newcastle this season, but it's a brilliant start. Obviously, with Villa, they're chucking a few players in. Obviously, Mings, I don't know if he's out for a couple of months now. I don't know how serious that is, or whether he's done his ACL, what has actually come of it, to be honest. But yeah, I probably agree with Josh a little bit. But they got the Europa Conference spot, didn't they? It's 7th.
Highly prestigious.
They'll probably be around that place again. Probably 7th to 9th if I was going to take a hunch on it, which probably Villa fans would take. Do you know what I mean? It's a good finish, 7th to 9th, around that for someone like Villa, who are, let's be honest, they're building a team. The signings they got, I think they're good signings for a team that want to finish 7th to 9th. I'm not sure their signings are going to lift you up the positions in the league necessarily, but yeah, for where they are, good run in the Europa Cup. If they want to win the Conference League, they got a very good chance of winning it, because yourself, they're not going to come across many teams that aren't any better than mid-table at best in any other league. Like you played Fiorentina in the final. If you're honest, were probably the better team on the night, I thought, but they were only like 13th, 14th in the Italian league. Yeah. So you're not gonna come across a superb side. If they want to win it, it's there to be won. So
it is, yeah. For sure. Well, we'll see. We will see. Right, let's move on to the entertainments in West London this afternoon. Brentford 2, Spurs 2. Sean is happy. That is for sure. Well, once the game eventually got going, I'd never heard of a water delay at a football game before, but that's what we saw today. Can't get staff coming, the highest level, the greatest show on earth, and we can't get going 2 games in a weekend on the opening weekend. But when it did get going, it didn't disappoint. 2-2 in the end. If I'm honest, Sean, I think you probably deserve to nick it.
Well, yeah, I've watched obviously the order of our team, all the pre-season, listened to all the interviews with players talking about the manager, watched a bit of Celtic last year. I knew what the manager were getting. So the game, I know I predicted 3-2 either way, which summed up how I thought it was going to go. In the first half, I thought this is exactly what I thought. I did also say last week for the neutral, like Tottenham games this season will probably be one of the best teams to watch for the neutral, because as a fan, it can be knife edge football a little bit, because they want to do all the passing out from the back. They're going to take gambles. They're going to chuck 8 men forward and leave us exposed to the counter attack. That's for the neutral, just casually watching a game. Most weekends, I'd imagine our game will probably be one of the most entertaining to watch, and I'd probably say for the neutral, our game probably was the game of the week for the neutral. If you want to just watch a game of football,
no, I agree.
Very much possession based, as you can tell. I do like stats in football, but you've got to then look beyond it a little bit, because you need an end product.
Yeah.
So it's very much a work in progress still. I thought we played great football today. I did actually really enjoy watching us. Still lots to work on, obviously. It's sort of how we play and how Brentford played meant it was going to be a game like that today, because Brentford don't mind doing the low block and sitting deep and trying to counter. Even at home, they don't care. I think so. They almost invited us a little bit, relying on the counter. Then we were a bit stretched, so they had a few half chances. So yeah, the game sort of went as expected. I think if you want to look at the possession stat, I think we have more possession against them than any team did last season at home. Even more than Arsenal, we beat them there, Man City, more than any of that. And second half, I sort of sensed second half when they come out, Spurs started to dictate more and more and more. Brentford decided quite early on that they were going to settle for the point and just try and not attack so much. I don't know, I just noticed that I think after 15 minutes, they put a stat up on the screen that the first 10, 15 minutes of that half, we had like 81% possession. That's sort of unheard of. But it is early days. We've had a bit of a disjointed pre-season. I think we had one game called off because of the monsoon. Another game where we had to replace Roma with some team called the Sailors or something. Harry Kane left last week, although kind of what I suspected. They knew he was going probably longer than what they let on. So they've sort of been planning for it. But yeah, I really enjoyed the game. I really enjoyed how we played. There's work in progress to do. Like, we've got a new keeper trying to get used to a new system. He's clearly been asked to sweep a keeper a little bit. We're bombing fullbacks forward. Like, Emerson Morel scored today, but he kept popping up in centre midfield. I'm like, and he wasn't told to get back. Like, Postecoglou, he doesn't mind that at all. And he'll go mental if you just lose the ball. If you just aim to kick it long and it's lost, he's lost the plot on the sideline in pre-season. And those players that did that found themselves on the bench and out the squad today. So that tells you the sort of football he wants to play. I thought Basuma was outstanding. I thought he'd run the game start to finish. If he stays fit, I think he'd be one of the best centre midfielders in the Premier League this season. I've rated him for years, you know I have. I said what an amazing signing he was last summer. Conte almost stripped the life out of him. But in this free roll on the ball, I thought he looked superb. Maddison, brilliant debut. I thought he looked very, very good. I was annoyed he only got me 7 points on Fantasy League with 2 assists. I was like, what's going on there? Also, obviously, we've got Udogie debut at left back. I thought he looked very strong, very powerful. Van der Ven debut at centre back. So we had a few debutants. There's things to work on. Like, obviously, the boring people will comment, or the naff press, or you've got to replace Kane. But sometimes it's not all on one man up front. And the only thing I thought we needed to work on, hopefully going forward, because we sort of play a front three. But what I noticed today, maybe they did it on purpose because they had a back five, so we want to stretch it. But Son was almost hugging the left wing. Kulusevski was really right on the right wing. Richarlison was through the middle, sort of being marked by 3 centre-halves, really. He had 2 chances on goal, which I'm surprised he even had them. But the front three just seemed very, very stretched. Like, they weren't like a unit and didn't link up. It was more like they were relying on, the tactics were relying on the centre midfield bursting forward to join it up, rather than Son playing miles away from Richarlison. But yeah,
I think just with that sense, that's the only sort of criticism I take of it. And I know I have a laughing joke with you about Richarlison, but he didn't get no help. He didn't get nothing up there. He was,
that's the main thing. That's the main negative I took from it, really. Just that the front three just a long way apart, and yeah, like through the middle, like our centre midfield, I'm going to be able to skip. He played most of the game. I thought our centre midfield dominated the whole football match, especially Maddison and Basuma. They looked on a completely different level to anyone else out there. But yeah, I'd like to see like Son come in field a little bit more. Maybe trying 1-2s with the main striker. I think we need to buy a couple more. We need to shift out 5 or 6. I don't know if it's true. I just read that Eric Dyer could be going off to Saudi to play in Ronaldo's team. I just read that. We need to shift a few.
Final paycheck.
Obviously, we're linked to that gift Orban that you chatted to me earlier about. Apparently, we're bidding heavy for him. I'd like to see us go in for Højbjerg. Might be going to Atletico Madrid. He was on the bench today as well. I'd like Eze from Palace. We're linked to him. I'd like to see that come off.
You got a fair old list there, Sean. Ready to go. It's like you just walked into Lidl. You're ready to go.
Well, this is players that have been linked for a little while. Like the interest in Eze's been there. I think he's got a buyout clause for about 30 million. Gift Orban, we bought a young striker from Argentina, but apparently he's not going to be ready for about 3 or 4 months because he's young, new to the country. Yeah, we probably looked on the bench a bit light of another striker. But yeah, any day, like I said earlier, but people will be happy what fixture to get first. Away to Brentford's first game of the season.
It's not nice.
They only lost 2 at home last year, and one of them they shouldn't have lost. So to go there, get a 2-2, they're probably a little bit fortunate to get the draw. Like the little deflected goal is the only way to beat the keeper. The penalty, probably by the laws, it's people say, "Oh, soft to soft." Maybe it is a pen, but so yeah, I think Brentford had come away very happy with a point. Tottenham a little bit disappointed because I thought we absolutely dominated the game. Really, they had a few counter-attack chances. But yeah, going forward, Brentford away, Man United at home. It's a tough start, and I think Pochettino's teams ever he's been, they've started slow because you can, if you switch from Conte's style, it's Mourinho more or less before that, to then start playing possession-based football with mostly the same team, few in and out. It's a big change just to do in 2 months. So to go from that, I think those that haven't watched Tottenham pre-season were probably very shocked to see how we played. I would have thought.
No, I think it was the game of the weekend. And well, what Sky thought would have been the game of the weekend was at 4:30, and it was Chelsea versus Liverpool. Just slightly not as good. Josh, talk us through Chelsea 1, Liverpool 1. Plenty went on.
Well, yeah, I thought we'll started the game very strongly. I thought first half an hour, but they were by far the better team. They were dominating. I thought Chelsea just looked like they had no chemistry, or probably because they got quite a few new players and they'd never really played together before. It just looked like they were just slow, really, and Liverpool were dominating. And with they had them 3 in midfield, Szoboszlai, McAllister and Gakpo, which is a very attacking midfield. No real holder in there or defensive midfielder. So I was always worried about that for them at the start. But yeah, they did come off the blocks fast. They were very good first half an hour. And then obviously they could have made it 2-0. Salah tight offside, probably just about the right decision. Just looked off. As soon as Chelsea got the goal, really it changed from then. They obviously had a disallowed goal straight after they scored, and which is again probably just about the right decision, both tight calls. But yeah, from then Chelsea just dominated really. I thought second half Liverpool were poor, Chelsea were by far the better team. They just sort of sat back, and McAllister and Szoboszlai, they had to sort of do holding the midfielder role, which when they're both number 10s really, that's where they played for the old club, so they weren't really used to that. I thought the decision making was poor. Szoboszlai's passing weren't great. There's one where McAllister could have had a shot or played Núñez through a bit better, but he just levered it in Núñez about 10 minutes to go. They could have won it. But no, Chelsea were by far the better team. I thought the only real chance Liverpool had second half was that one, and then the Núñez one where it was deflected just past the post. And they also did have a chance to win it last minute. Chelsea figured Mudryk rounded the keeper, and then decided to cut back and lay it off, and Liverpool got it cleared in the end. They should have had a shot. But no, it's encouraging signs for Chelsea, to be fair. After the first half an hour, I thought they could be in for another long season. But obviously, they woke up after the goal, and Thiago Silva still a class act at about 37, 38, whatever he is, just pinging the balls left, right, and centre, just passing range ridiculous for the centre half. That new centre back who scored as well, he looks quite promising. I think we can definitely finish in the top 6. Chelsea's probably about 6th to 4th, as high as I can see them going. But yes, encouraging signs. They're playing good football as well. So yeah, the worrying signs for Liverpool. Like they definitely need to bring in a defensive midfielder and probably a centre back from Van Dijk and Canate. They're good, but they could probably do a bit more competition. Don't think Van Dijk's as good as he used to be since his injury. Definitely lost a yard of pace. And yeah, they need someone to protect the back four because obviously they've let Fabinho and Henderson go. So I think there's definitely more to do in the market for Liverpool.
Sorry to butt in. With Liverpool, obviously, we said last week I thought they'd be a lot better than last year. I think they're probably a little bit behind in the transfer market, I think.
Yeah.
And what you've got to remember as well, they've lost 2 leaders in Henderson and Milner in one window. Mm-hmm. And that's, whether you rate them or not, whether you think they're past it or not, you're talking about 2 players that probably got close to 1,000 Premier League games between them, probably over that or whatever it is. That's a big deal. And obviously they bought players they bought last year. I think we reeled them off. Is it Nunes, Gapco, and who's the one that scored today? They were assisted. Forgotten the winger. Who's the other one?
Diaz.
Yeah, Diaz. They bought them in almost quick succession. I think all of them the 2 of them had a bit of an injury in and out, sent off on his debut. Nunes one day or something. Do you know what I mean? So they haven't really got going, losing 2 leaders. Like you said about Van Dijk, it might take. They need to get on with who they bought. Whether McAllister's the level they need, I think there's a debate there because he just because you win the World Cup and have a good season for Brighton doesn't mean to say you're all of a sudden a player that should be in a team challenging for the title. So
think you played well today.
Yeah, he's a good, neat and tidy player.
Yeah.
I'm not knocking this, but he only started in the World Cup final because a player that's on Tottenham's bench today was injured. So that's fact. Do you know what I mean? So if you're judging a player mainly on what they do for international football, do you know what I mean? It's a bit like Maguire.
Maguire's the best in the world.
Yeah, but do you know what I mean? I've seen some West Ham fans say, "Oh, he's one of the best teams in the tournament, 3 tournaments in a row." Possibly was, but if you're tripping over your backside on a Saturday for your club, do you know what I mean? So it's McAllister is good. Is he that level? What Liverpool need? I'm not sure, to be honest. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, maybe losing 2 leaders that might cost Liverpool a little bit.
No, I think. Excuse me. I think that is a good point, and they may struggle there. Chelsea, mixed bag. I think one thing to take out of today is I think we'll struggle to find in terms of pleasing on the eye. I don't think we'll find a better 2 matches together this season on a Super Sunday. It was a very entertaining afternoon of Premier League football. I thought the first match was slightly better, but both matches very, very good. And I think we've had a very good opening weekend of the season. Man United versus Wolves tomorrow. Let's take some of your predictions for that game. They are they're going on a specific pattern here. 4-0 United, 2-0 United, 3-1 United, 5-1 United, 3-0 United, 3-0 United, 3-1 United. Anyone saying any different, Josh?
3-0 United. I think Wolves could be in trouble this season. Obviously, manager walked out. I haven't really brought anyone in. I think they signed Doherty back for free. And that's it, really. Let quite a few goals. I think they'll be down there this season. So 3-0 United.
I think we elected Wolves our team that people might not really think will struggle, but will struggle this year, Sean.
Yeah, that was my punt to the 3rd spot. Well, if they got is Gary O'Neill gone there yet? If they've even got a manager,
he's gone.
He actually went, did he?
It's gonna be fun at Molyneux this year.
It's at Old Trafford tomorrow, is it?
Oh, is it? Oh yeah.
I don't know. I'm asking you.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know. Probably 2-0. I don't think it'd be too much a mad one, but yeah, because I can't imagine Gary O'Neill setting up too adventurous there. Yeah, they're in trouble again for United. A bit like we said with Brighton, you couldn't have asked for a better first fixture. Really gives your team a chance to bed in, and it should be an easy win. Shouldn't have to strain yourself too much to win that.
No, I agree. Right, we are going to add our new section. Josh, are you doing FPL this year?
Yes, I am.
We will get you in our league as soon as possible. I'm not quite sure how often this is going to happen, so I'm going to take it as it is. Sean, I've beat you this week.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Who've you got playing tomorrow? Anyone?
Nobody. You've got one player, but there's no way Martinez is getting 12 points tomorrow.
How have you beat me? I thought I had a good week.
Right, let's get this.
63. I got 63 points.
Right, so Josh got 63. Oh god, my screen's gone. Right, Sean got 66. So Josh got 63. Sean got 66.
I've still got Luke Shaw to play. I think that's it.
You've got one player to play. I think you've got Martinez, Sean, haven't you? I think.
Yeah.
You've got Martinez, and I've got 74 points with no players left, so I'm done and dusted on 74 points. At one stage yesterday, I was top of my own league. I was very proud of myself. I've dropped down to fourth now. Sean, you are 20th in our league, so respectable out of 60, I think.
I can't believe you picked a player that wants to leave your club in your team.
Well, I did that before he was going to flip in.
Get rid of him before it starts. I had Harry Kane in my team last week. I soon shifted him on.
Well, yeah, but he might stay. Yeah, he might stay. Right. Let's analyze Sean's team. Alisson in goal. So you've got Martinez, Udigi, whoever he is, Akanji, Odegaard, De Bruyne. I've got De Bruyne. We'll both have to transfer De Bruyne right this week, Sean. Eze, Maddison. That Sean's not happy about. You got 9 points. That's all right.
9, yeah, was it? I know. I just think when you play that well and have 2 assists, you probably should get at least double figures or something. That's not great, is it?
Gordon, why have you picked Anthony Gordon?
He was a sub. I don't know. He was a sub. I can't remember. I was just messing around with it, to be honest. I looked for something cheap.
and then you've gone for Haaland and Isak up front, the same as me, right? So. Sean, you'll probably beat me every week on from now, so I'm going to take it this week. I'm going to take it. So this is the FPL. If you want to join it, you still can. You can be in it for next week. We'll make sure Josh gets in it for next week as well. You can click this link in the live chat now, and you'll be automatically entered if you have a team into our FPL league. And yeah, you can see whether you can beat me. There's only currently 3 people that are better than me, and their names are Tina, Jeremy, and Nick Hatcher is top of our league. So congratulations, Nick. Well done. You are top of our league after week 1. Are you
dishing out prizes, Jake? All this hype or not?
I can't flip and afford that. This is just wasting time to get us up to an hour.
Like tickets to FA Cup final or something like that.
What? Do you think I'm made of money or something?
Come on, you got to start upping your game.
Oh, all right. Noted. Right. Josh, anything to add before we go?
Not really. Up to Villa.
Up the Villa. Who've you got? Who've you got next week, Josh?
Everton at home.
Everton. Oh, so you should pick something up there.
Well, if we don't, I'll be a bit worried, I'm afraid.
You should be, I think. You should be. Right, there we go. Thank you very much indeed, everybody, for watching. We will be off to the DT38 Golf Day on Tuesday, raising awareness and of course seeing loads of ex-players there. So to keep an eye out on DT38 social media. You might just see a familiar face. You never know. And until next week, Sean, anything to add?
Not a lot really, mate. Like I said, it's a good little start, but you can't read it. You can't read too much into it, can you? Yeah, like I said, a lot of teams are coming and going. Same with my club. We've got United at home next week. But it'll be more of the same. We'll have much more of the possession. They'll counter attack, but obviously they'll be a lot better at counter attacking than Brentford. So we need to learn quick not to get caught out in that way, because we will get punished and it'll be game over. I don't like I said earlier about you can't take a game to Man City. I don't see us not trying to take a game to Man City. I think that's just the manager how he's going to do it. But yeah, it's going to be a fun season, no doubt about that. It certainly is. From me, Common Your Irons, thank you very much indeed, everybody, for joining me. And we'll have some content coming your way between now and building up to Chelsea next Sunday. We'll unfortunately not be making our way there. We've got a christening next Sunday, exciting times. So, but we'll be back for the football. Don't you worry about that. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Until next week, we will see you soon. Thanks, Josh. Thanks, Sean. See you soon. Bye-bye. See you later.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.